Far beyond the edges of known space, where star maps faded into blank darkness, a tiny alien outpost struggled to survive on a distant, forgotten planet. This world was harsh, covered in jagged rocks and dense poisonous mists, but its people had called it home for centuries. Now an ancient terror threatened to wipe out everything they had built, a relentless predator species known across the galaxy as the Deathworlders. These creatures were unlike anything peaceful life forms had faced before, enormous savage hunters that adapted with deadly speed, striking fear into even the bravest hearts. The outpost's leaders knew their time was running out, supplies dwindled, and their defenses faltered under endless waves of attacks. Desperation grew in the air like a heavy fog. In their last hope, they activated a distress beacon, sending a single urgent SOS signal into the vast emptiness of space. This message, filled with fear and pleading, broke the silence of the void and began a slow journey toward the stars, carrying a call for help that few might ever hear. Across millions of miles, the faint signal traveled, unnoticed by many until it reached a planet that few galactic powers gave a second thought: Earth. The humans living there were seen by other advanced civilizations as fragile and distracted, their technology considered primitive compared to interstellar empires. Yet Earth was quietly different. Beneath its blue skies and sprawling cities, humans had developed powerful listening arrays, vast networks of satellites and sensors designed to capture the smallest whispers from space. At a remote command center tucked away in a mountain range, a group of analysts sifted through endless streams of data, searching for anything unusual. When the SOS signal appeared on their screens, it sparked immediate interest. Unlike the usual cosmic noise, this signal carried urgency and intelligence. The lead analyst, a calm but sharp woman named Dr. Elena Kim, studied the pattern carefully. "It's not just static," she said quietly, drawing the attention of her team. "There's a message here. Someone is asking for help." Others leaned closer, eyes wide with surprise and curiosity. For hours, the team worked to decode the transmission. Fragments of alien language, data bursts, and faint images revealed a world in chaos. The distress came from a species unfamiliar to human databases, but the message was clear. Their planet was under attack by terrifying predators called the Deathworlders. As the information unfolded, tension grew in the room. The outpost's last survivors described their situation with chilling detail: the destruction of cities, the fall of defenses, the constant fear of the Deathworlders' return. It was unlike anything Earth had ever encountered. Outside the center, the news was kept quiet, limited to a few trusted officials. The government and military leaders began to debate the next steps in secret meetings. Some argued that Earth should stay out of it, believing this was a distant problem with little to do with humanity. Others, however, saw a different truth. The SOS might be a warning and an opportunity. What if humanity, long overlooked and underestimated, could rise to the challenge? What if this call for help was the spark needed to awaken Earth's hidden strength? As discussions continued, the story spread among scientists and explorers who had spent their lives dreaming of contact with alien civilizations. Hope flickered in their hearts. For the first time, a chance to show that humans were more than just a small, fragile species caught in the vast galaxy. In the following days, preparations began quietly but steadily. Research teams worked on modifying spacecraft, improving communication systems, and developing new tactics. Military forces sharpened their readiness. While the world outside remained unaware of the looming decision, inside the command center, a sense of purpose filled the air. Dr. Kim watched as her colleagues moved with determination, knowing this was more than a rescue mission. It was a moment that could change everything. Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, ordinary people went about their lives, unaware that far away, a desperate SOS had been answered with the awakening of something new. Deep in their hearts, humans carried a history of survival, of facing storms, droughts, and endless challenges. They had adapted to the most dangerous corners of their own planet, from freezing tundras to scorching deserts. That resilience, that stubborn will to survive against all odds, was about to be tested on a much larger scale. The message from the alien outpost was not just a cry for help. It was a call to humanity's own destiny. As days turned into nights, and preparations moved forward, a quiet excitement grew among those who understood the stakes. They were about to step beyond the safety of their blue world and into the cold depths of space, where nothing was certain and dangers lurked unseen. Unknown to the alien outpost, the SOS they sent had awakened a force they could not imagine. Earth, once considered insignificant and weak, was beginning to stir, a sleeping giant slowly opening its eyes. The human race, with all its flaws and strength, was preparing to answer the call, ready to face the Deathworlders and protect a new friend. Suspense filled the air, like the calm before a storm. What would happen when humanity met these deadly predators? Could they survive the coming trials? The answers lay beyond the stars, waiting in the darkness where only the brave dared to go. And so the stage was set for a story of courage, hope, and the unexpected rise of a species long underestimated. The galaxy was about to learn that when humanity woke, nothing would ever be the same. For centuries, humanity had been seen by many advanced alien civilizations as weak, fragile, and small, a species not worthy of much attention beyond their own solar system. Galactic powers dismissed Earth as a quiet, insignificant blue dot, home to creatures who had yet to prove themselves on a grand cosmic stage. But beneath this common view lay a truth few understood. Humans had survived some of the most brutal environments imaginable: scorching deserts, freezing tundras, thick jungles, and deep oceans. These harsh conditions shaped them, teaching patience, cleverness, and endurance. Deep underground and within hidden research stations, scientists had uncovered evidence of these remarkable abilities. The human body and mind were finely tuned for adaptation. When the alien SOS signal replayed again and again in the command center, it stirred something long dormant within humanity. A coalition of scientists, military leaders, and explorers, each skilled in their own way, gathered in secret chambers to examine the message and what it might mean. They understood that this was not just a call for help from another world. It was a summons for humanity itself to awaken, to rise above old fears and doubt. Plans began to form quickly. Ideas that once seemed like science fiction became urgent reality. The coalition proposed building a fleet unlike any Earth had ever seen, ships equipped for long journeys through space and battles with unknown enemies. Engineers and technicians worked day and night, designing vessels that could carry not just weapons but hope and determination. At the same time, commanders refined strategies and trained forces in new combat tactics based on Earth's own history of conflict and survival. As news of the alien SOS quietly leaked into public consciousness, whispers began to spread through cities, towns, and villages around the world. Ordinary people listened to broadcasts that hinted at something greater on the horizon. Pride sparked in their hearts as rumors told of Earth's first real chance to join the galaxy's defenders and explorers. Social media buzzed with speculation, and communities debated what humanity's role might be. Could Earth's children truly become protectors instead of bystanders? Hope blossomed in places that had long known hardship. This was more than just a mission. It was a chance to prove to the universe that humans were more than what others assumed. Earth's leaders faced challenges too, balancing the need for secrecy with growing public interest. They called upon diplomats to prepare messages for potential allies, readying to announce that Earth would no longer stand silent and isolated. As the fleet grew stronger, crews of diverse backgrounds were chosen: scientists skilled in alien biology, pilots trained in extreme maneuvers, and soldiers who knew how to survive the impossible. These individuals were brought together not only by duty, but by a shared sense of destiny. When the time came, they would be the face of humanity. Tensions rose as the fleet prepared to leave Earth's orbit for the first time in a generation. Families said quiet goodbyes, communities gathered for moments of reflection, and the world held its breath. The unknown stretched before them like an endless night sky filled with stars, some familiar, many mysterious, and dangerous. Yet, in the hearts of those who watched and waited, a deep confidence took hold. The sleeping giant was stirring. Earth was waking up after centuries of quiet existence, ready to move beyond its limitations. This awakening was not only about technology or military power, but about the spirit of a species that refused to be forgotten. Stories of human resilience, of explorers crossing frozen seas, pioneers crossing deserts, and survivors rebuilding after disaster, became symbols of what lay ahead. As the fleet's launch day approached, every member of the coalition felt the weight of history on their shoulders. The alien SOS had opened a door, but beyond it lay threats they could barely imagine. The Deathworlders, the fearsome predators, who had forced the outpost to send that call, were only the beginning. Yet the coalition knew that waiting would only bring disaster. Action was necessary. When the ships finally lifted from Earth, breaking through the atmosphere into the blackness of space, the world watched in silent awe. What started as a faint hope had become a powerful movement. The human race, underestimated for so long, was now reaching for the stars with courage and resolve. The sleeping giant was not just awake, it was ready to roar. As the fleet sped toward the unknown, every person involved knew this was a test of everything humanity stood for: intelligence, unity, and the unbreakable will to survive. The future was uncertain, the dangers immense, but for the first time, humanity's place among the stars felt real. The long years of preparation had led to this moment, and no one would look back. In the depths of space, Earth's children carried the hopes of a planet ready to prove its worth. They were no longer the forgotten species. They were the rising force in a galaxy full of shadows and wonders. And with every pulse of their ship's engines, they took one step closer to a destiny no one had dared to imagine before. The universe had called, and humanity was answering, awake, alert, and ready to defend not only the alien outpost, but their own future among the stars. The fleet of human ships finally reached the coordinates sent in the desperate SOS, arriving in the shadow of a planet that bore the scars of endless battle. The surface was ravaged, landscapes torn apart, cities burned to ruins, and silence hung heavily over the desolation. Yet amid the destruction, faint signs of life remained. Small groups of survivors huddled in underground shelters and hidden enclaves, their faces marked by fear, but also fierce determination. These were the last of the outpost's inhabitants, holding on against overwhelming odds. As the humans prepared to land, the air grew thick with tension. The enemy they faced was known simply as the Deathworlders, a brutal and relentless species evolved to dominate the harshest, most unforgiving planets without mercy or pause. Their bodies were built for war, their minds honed by a savage instinct to hunt and destroy anything in their path. No diplomacy could tame them, no plea for mercy softened their savage hearts. The humans quickly learned that these were not ordinary foes. The first encounter exploded into chaos as the Deathworlders charged with terrifying speed, attacking the new arrivals with claws and weapons crafted from the bones and metals of their harsh world. Human soldiers, trained for unknown dangers, but unprepared for this level of ferocity, scrambled to respond. But humans had their own weapon: unpredictability. Their quick thinking and inventive tactics caught the Deathworlders off guard. Using technology and terrain to their advantage, the humans fought back fiercely, exploiting weaknesses in the enemy's attack patterns. The first battle was brutal and costly. Many lives were lost and ships were damaged beyond repair. But the Deathworlders began to understand that these newcomers were unlike any enemy they had faced. The humans combined courage with creativity, blending ancient survival instincts with advanced science to adapt in real time. Commanders on the ground coordinated daring maneuvers, while pilots in space wove through asteroid fields and laser fire to provide crucial support. The clash was not just physical but mental, each side learning from the other in a deadly game of strategy and endurance. Slowly, the tide began to shift. Small victories on the battlefield gave the human forces new hope, while survivors on the planet's surface found strength in the reinforcements. Yet the cost was painfully clear. Every success came with sacrifices, every advance paid for in blood. The humans realized that this was no quick rescue mission but the beginning of a long and difficult fight. The Deathworlders did not retreat easily. When cornered, they fought with even greater desperation, their cries echoing across the war-torn landscape. The humans gained respect for their enemy's savage will to survive, understanding that to win they would need more than firepower. They needed resilience and unity. As battles raged, leaders in the human fleet communicated constantly, sharing intelligence and adjusting strategies. They combined old tactics from Earth's history, guerrilla warfare, ambushes, and psychological tactics, with new technologies designed specifically for this fight. The survivors of the outpost provided invaluable guidance, teaching the humans about the planet's deadly environments and the Deathworlders' behavior. Together, they formed an alliance of necessity and hope. Suspense and fear mixed with determination as each encounter tested the limits of human skill and spirit. The planet itself seemed alive with danger. Storms of acidic rain, shifting tectonic plates, and poisonous gases made every step perilous. Yet the humans pushed forward, fueled by a desire to protect not only the outpost survivors but their own growing reputation in the galaxy. As they fought, the true scale of the Deathworlders' threat became clear. These predators were part of a larger system of conquest, a force that spread terror across multiple worlds. If left unchecked, they could devastate many more planets, including Earth itself. This knowledge deepened the resolve of the human forces. They were not just fighting to save one outpost, but to prevent a catastrophe that could touch every corner of the stars. In the quiet moments between battles, the humans remembered why they had come: to answer a call for help, to prove their strength, and to rise above the doubts of the galaxy. The clash on the Deathworld was more than a fight for survival. It was the proving ground for humanity's future. With every victory earned and every loss mourned, the humans showed that they were a force to be reckoned with. The battle was far from over, but the sleeping giant had begun to roar. News of humanity's arrival and fierce resistance on the Deathworld spread rapidly through the shadowy channels of interstellar communication, shaking the very core of the Deathworlders' leadership. These creatures, once thought to be wild, mindless beasts driven by instinct alone, revealed themselves as parts of a complex and terrifying ecosystem, a ruthless system of conquest, survival, and control that spanned several worlds. The Deathworlder hierarchy, an ancient order of powerful commanders and strategists, understood that this new threat was unlike any they had faced before. Humanity's unpredictable tactics, their resilience in the face of overwhelming danger, and the growing fleet of ships challenged the dominance the Deathworlders had enjoyed for centuries. In response, they began mobilizing forces far beyond the initial battlefields, calling for reinforcements from distant territories, gathering deadly creatures bred for war, and preparing to crush this unexpected enemy with overwhelming power. The mobilization was swift and merciless. Vast armies of Deathworlders swarmed across multiple planets, while war machines designed to terrorize and destroy were ready to strike wherever humanity dared to tread. Back on Earth, the news of the alien battle and humanity's courage ignited a powerful response. Leaders across nations and organizations united to prepare for a larger war effort, one that went beyond the rescue mission and into the realm of defending the future of their species. Governments worked together to combine the best of their technology and knowledge, blending advancements in artificial intelligence, robotics, and biology to develop new weapons and defenses capable of facing the Deathworlders' savage onslaught. Scientists raced to understand the enemy's biology and behavior, uncovering weaknesses and devising ways to exploit them. Engineers constructed advanced spacecraft equipped for prolonged combat and exploration, while military commanders trained their forces for the challenges ahead. Yet it was not technology alone that hardened humanity's spirit. It was their unyielding will to survive and protect what they loved. Across the globe, people rallied behind the cause, inspired by stories of bravery from the front lines and the hope of standing together against a dark future. Cities held vigils and celebrations, while children learned of the heroes fighting far away. The defiance that blossomed on Earth became a beacon across the stars, signaling to allies and enemies alike that humanity would not be pushed aside or crushed. This spirit of unity and resistance spread even beyond Earth's borders, drawing attention from other civilizations who watched carefully, some offering cautious support, others reconsidering their stance toward humanity. The Deathworlders, recognizing the growing threat, intensified their efforts, unleashing waves of attacks that tested every human defense. The battles became fiercer, the stakes higher, and the cost heavier. But each encounter only fueled humanity's resolve. As the war expanded across planets and space, the lines between friend and foe blurred. Alliances formed in unexpected places, and the galaxy began to change. What had started as a desperate rescue had transformed into a struggle for survival and dominance. Humanity was no longer a quiet observer of the stars. They were becoming a force that could inspire hope and fear, a sleeping giant now fully awake and ready to roar. The coming days promised challenges beyond imagination, but for the first time humanity faced the future with open eyes and steady hearts, united in purpose and ready to fight for their place among the stars. The final conflict loomed like a storm on the horizon, vast and unavoidable, stretching across the endless expanse of space and multiple worlds scarred by war. Humanity, once underestimated and dismissed as weak, now stood at the edge of destiny, ready to reveal a strength born from centuries of hardship and unmatched ingenuity. The weapons they wielded were unlike anything seen before, engineered from the lessons learned in Earth's most extreme environments. From the crushing pressures of the deep oceans to the fierce heat of deserts, every challenge humanity had faced was transformed into a new form of power. They had crafted armor that could adapt to shifting threats, weapons that combined technology with biology, and strategies shaped by human creativity and resilience. Commanders coordinated fleets that moved with precision, launching coordinated strikes on multiple fronts to keep the relentless Deathworlders off balance. The battles were monumental, intense clashes where courage and unity became as vital as firepower. Space was filled with dazzling displays of light and sound as ships engaged in deadly dance, weaving through asteroid fields and debris from shattered moons. On the war-torn planets below, ground forces fought fiercely, using every advantage the terrain and their experience could offer. The Deathworlders, creatures of raw power and primal rage, met their match in the human force's determination and adaptive minds. For the first time, these predators faced an enemy that refused to break, that stood firm against overwhelming odds without faltering. The humans moved not as isolated units, but as a united front, their spirits linked by the unbreakable will to survive and protect. Moments of fear and loss were met with renewed resolve. Every fallen comrade became a reason to fight harder. The battle was not simply a struggle for survival, but a testament to what humanity could achieve when it stood together. As the conflict raged on, the Deathworlder hierarchy began to crumble under the weight of unexpected resistance. Their vast armies, once feared for their unstoppable might, found themselves driven back, unable to withstand the relentless push of human innovation and spirit. Communication lines faltered, reinforcements were cut off, and fear began to seep into the ranks of the once feared invaders. Slowly but surely, the tide turned. The final moments of the war were marked by desperate last stands and brilliant maneuvers, the skies and planets echoing with the sounds of battle and the cries of warriors on both sides. Then, as dust settled over the scarred worlds, a new reality emerged. Humanity stood victorious. The sleeping giant had not only awakened, but roared with a force that echoed across the galaxy. No longer a species to be overlooked or underestimated, humans had proven their place among the stars. Their victory was not just military but symbolic, a declaration that Earth's children had arrived as key players in the galactic order. The survivors of the war returned to their homes changed, carrying stories of bravery, sacrifice, and hope. Around the universe, allies who had watched from the sidelines now looked at humanity with respect and cautious optimism. The once quiet, blue planet was now a beacon of strength and resilience, its people united by the trials they had overcome. As peace slowly returned, the leaders of Earth began to build a new future, one where humans would take part in shaping the destiny of many worlds, forging alliances and exploring the mysteries beyond their own skies. The legacy of the Deathworlders, once a symbol of fear, became a reminder of humanity's unyielding spirit and the power of unity in the face of darkness. This was the dawn of a new era, where the sleeping giant no longer slumbered, but stood, tall, ready to face whatever challenges the galaxy might bring. Humanity had stepped forward not just as survivors but as warriors and explorers, their story forever written among the stars.